you have your score up here? Okay. Well, you started with a quirky piece and we ended with a quirky piece. Right? This is a Beethoven sonata. This is kind of a weird one, isn't it? This movement. Yeah. I mean, I like it. I like weird things. But it's not. Did you choose this or did?
I found that.
Yeah. Have you worked on the whole thing, or is this the start of your journey? Yeah, because the first one is really quite charming. Okay, so since you chose it, I want to ask you, what drew you to this piece?
I think it's just like you said, it's very quirky, and there's a lot of very fiery, emotional moments, and just a lot of musicality going on.
Yeah. Beethoven was like, there wasn't anyone quite like Beethoven that could take something simple, like a chord, and like make a whole section out of it. I'm thinking of the Passionata. I don't know if you know that one in F minor. Yeah, the whole thing's just a big F minor arpeggio, essentially. It's a lot harder than that. I just played it recently, and it's not an easy one. But this isn't, not much is happening, right? And even like some of this stuff, when he just keeps sort of regurgitating. But it's interesting if you think of it in the right way. So I want to work with you with some things I think might help with that. Okay, so this piece especially, I say this to a lot of my students. You have to imagine that you're joining a piece already in progress. Like could you start this again? But I want you to feel like the piece has been going, and you just join it. Like you're not thinking about starting it. You're just tagging along for the ride. There's no way you were thinking of it, because as soon as you put your hand up, you started playing, right? Okay, let's try that again. That was better. What I'm trying to get you to hear without telling you explicitly is it's a little bit too loud. That first note. Da da da. And to there. Da, da. So this is your downbeat, right? So it's not. Versus. Does that make sense? Yeah. And you can go a little slower if you want. I know this is a piece in progress. Some sections feel like more comfortable than others. So, my mantra for the day, you can go slow. It's okay. Good, let's stop there. You notice, Grace, I'm counting in 1. This is in 6/8. Da da dee da 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 dee. This is going to help you as you get the tempo up, right? Because even if you think of this in 2, it can get a little bit bogged down.
Yeah.
So, did that feel different to you?
Yeah.
So I write this in my students' music all the time. In B on that first note. And for singers, that does not mean no breath, it means no bump. We don't want. Right? Good. Does that feel different to you?
Yeah.
A little bit lighter, yeah. Because, we have all these like conflicting indicators in this piece. Presto con fuoco, piano. Non-legato, right? Thin texture. It's not the same as that piece, is it? So we have to think about maybe the con fuoco means a little bit different something in this piece. Yeah, save it for some other later moments. Yeah. Okay, let's start again. I want to keep going. I want to get into that next theme. what do you think, like what are the phrase lengths in this piece? What is a typical phrase length in the classical era? 17 measures, 1 measure, 4?
Could be anything.
Could be anything. That's 4 bars, right? It's basically four bars. So
Yeah.
when you don't have 4 bars, that's kind of a weird thing. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, extension to another. Right? So that in itself is weird to start the piece. That's why I said this is a quirky one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. We keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. We keep going. Right? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Try it again now. Thinking about those structures. We were talking about earlier about creating sentences versus words. So how long are your sentences? You know, do you have defined sentences? Do they go on a little too long? Are they too short? Do we set up an expectation and then do something interesting? So remember to keep going. Yes. 5, 6. Keep going, please. Yeah. Yeah. So that's weird, isn't it? So we have 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I think you left out a measure.
Yeah,
Okay, I was gonna say like I thought there was only 3 there. So it's quirky, but not that quirky. Okay, good. So when you get into this stuff here, this is a common theme I'm going to have for you today, and that is the word length. Okay, I think sometimes you're a little on the short side of note values and or releases of those note values. And so you can play this. You can play it like it's a galloping horse on hot coals, or you can play it just with some separation. You know, where it's not like you're.
Like I'm trying to get off it.
Yeah. Can you just take the right hand? You can go a little slower if you like. I kind of like that. Maybe go the opposite direction where it's like each second note is like burning coal. Yeah, maybe I'm biased, but I like the first one better. And I think that it alone will provide you some contrast to what, you know, if it's too short, for my ear, it draws our attention away in a less than positive way. Can we try it a little bit under tempo? Adding that back in. Don't get too choppy. So think about this as a gentle release versus
An attack.
not an attack, but like a deliberate removal of the note, right? So it's not. You're just kind of gliding off of it. Good. Now, that was beautiful. And then you play chirp, 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 chirp. Yeah, there's staccato, but there's staccato 8 notes in the context of a fast 6/8, and coming after this very. That's all you need.
Sure.
Yeah. So I wrote this a lot in my score as you were playing. Ring. Can we try maybe just the last one of those? Yeah, I mean we're splitting hairs now, but like, maybe that could be a little bit longer. But think about bum, 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 bum. Do you play any other instruments besides piano? Trumpet, okay. Pull, 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 pull. Yeah, versus a pizzicato. Yeah. Pull, 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 pull. Okay. Good. Another place where that comes into play is when you have all these chords, right? We need the length on those. Like, where's a good place to get into this next passage? We can start here.
Sure.
Yeah. And I want you to think about, I'm sure you don't have any teachers at Memorial High School who speak in a monotone, all right? Okay. If they were, they're not the most interesting to listen to. You don't have to name names. If you have F's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this is what I was talking about with Beethoven. It's like, he's like, okay, you like F? I'll give you a lot of F's. So we have to, as the performer, we have to do something different with those. And he gives us some ideas. Right? Something that has, and then underneath it is all the interesting stuff. Still not a lot happening there.
Yeah.
So we don't want to make a big deal of it, but we have to do something more. Okay? Now don't go that fast. I was just demonstrating because our time is limited. Yeah. Part of it's because you're now in that gray area where it's memorized, but I'm asking you to do things and there's music up here. You cut short a measure here just like you did earlier.
Yeah.
Like, bum, 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 bum. So if you always think in phrasing and phrase lengths, a 3-bar phrase will feel weird to you. Yeah. Unless maybe that's what the composer intends, or if you're like, oh, that didn't feel quite right. Oh, I left out a measure.
Yeah.
Be a little bolder on these first ones. Yeah. Can you try that one more time? And I'd like to keep going after that. Yeah. So that's what I'm getting after. Yeah. These are your double basses. That full bow for each one. Bowl. Yeah. So I would love to hear that one more time. I want you to think about. Each one of them is the same. It's a sequence. Yeah. It's the same idea, starting with different notes. But it's falling. Which ordinarily, when music falls, we want to take crescendo, but Beethoven says to do what? Get louder. Yeah. Yeah. Wherever's a good place to start. Yeah. So it's like really big, bold, dynamic contrasts in this piece, aren't there? This is a surprise. Yep. I think you could. I think you're seeing. I think you're seeing the 2 F's, but not the P. Yeah. It's natural. I had written, there's a place, a little bit, let's get rid of some of these pages. So it's after, it's here, can you find that? In your score? Yeah. Yeah, that was some weird phrase links here, I think. You know? I don't know if you could start it, maybe start it back at here for us, so it gets fresh in our ears.
Do we have a metro number?
No.
No.
It's a. It's from the code. It's back from the code of maybe 24 measures or so.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, starting here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So boom, boom. These don't have the staccatos. So it's really 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Keep going. Yeah. So Seth. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's weird. Right? I mean, for the common music in the classical era. So why do I point that out? For awareness, right? So that you know this is not business as usual, right? Like it should be. Maybe one, it goes into a different key or something. This is a weird measure. It's not even, it's not even like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess it's a 6 measure phrase, but it sure doesn't feel like one. Can you try it again thinking about that? I bet, could you try that just a little faster? Because it's just So I bring this out because when we talked at the very beginning of our time about how Beethoven takes a little bit of material and think about right? Just a falling third and it's a whole symphony. But here's just harmony. So what he does is he sets up our expectation of phrase length and then changes it, and then that's what makes it interesting. That's so then when we get from here to here, we don't feel like nothing really happened. We think, okay, well we had this chord progression with extra measures, and now we're feeling a little on edge, and we don't know what's coming next with the coda. Okay. I had one other spot I wanted to work with you on, which I think would help, and this is, those are the score, beginning at the top of the last 2 pages. This stuff. Do you feel like this is difficult, or, I don't put you on the spot, I know. Sometimes things just don't go as well as they would at home.
Yeah,
It's never happened to me, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
A little tough at first, but I just need to work on it.
Can we try something? Can you just literally set your right hand in the general range that it's going to play, and don't worry about any notes. Now left hand. Da 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 da. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 2. Keep going. Da 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 da. 2. 2. That's It's
So,
there, and part of the difficulty is it's almost Scarlatti-esque.
yeah.
You played any Scarlatti sonatas?
No, but I've seen some wicked ones.
Yeah, I mean, he crossed hands all the time, and so da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. At least it gets you used to the choreography of what it feels like to have a hand sitting there.
Mhm.
And then, now could you try, whatever finger you use, just blocking those? Just try the right hand ones. Good. Now, since we're short on time, can I sit for a second? That would be the first step, right? Right hand stays, left hand plays.
Mhm.
And then I would play this like we just did, and then maybe right? Like doesn't really matter where you are, but just that you're here or here.
Okay.
You know? And then maybe slowly, always slowly. So you get grounded in that chord progression. You know? And then this is easy. Look at all the time you have. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that kind of three-tiered approach where you kind of, it's a version of ghost practice where one hand is just sitting where it should be, or it moves to the general area that it will be playing.
Mhm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Seth.